I realize there is almost no chance he will see this. I realize there is almost no chance that if he does see this he will listen to the words of a talking bird with a robotic voice. I realize I have never made a video before, that the so-called Depaul debacle has already been covered by people more prominent and almost surely more intelligent than I, but I see constantly the state of university campuses all over the country, and it saddens me. I like to think these incidents are the exception, not the rule. The acts of a vocal minority. I believe that is most likely the truth. It becomes harder to ignore, however, the rise of situations like this or the complicity of university staff and professors. I feel like I must do something, say something. At least when I am able, when I have something to say or interject. Or I risk being a complicit party as well. Which brings me to the topic of today's video. Edward Ward. I am aware that if you have somehow stumbled upon this video you already know who this gentleman is and the events surrounding his sudden internet infamy. For the sake of viewers who may not, however, I feel it is appropriate to show these quick clips.
Anyway, whatever. But modern feminism has become ever more hysterical about ever tinier things. This hysteria about microaggressions. Well, they're called microaggressions because you can't even see them. And the reason you can't see them is because they're not there. Nothing happens. I mean, hello, darling.
Sir, please,
do you need some help?
Sir,
do you
please.
Need some help?
Sir, please.
We'd like to ask you to please.
Sir, please.
Ha.
Can we ask you to stop, please?
Sir. Sir.
I got all day. Microaggressions don't exist. The dumbest thing I've ever heard. Oh my God, you're an idiot. I got all day. I literally have all day. Get comfortable in your seats, folks. It's about to be a long night.
This is a very low standard of protest. At Rutgers, they at least brought paint. I worked out why there's so many black girls here. I think it's because I fucked their brothers.
Audience, please remain sitting. Audience, please remain sitting.
He's an idiot.
Audience, please, Brendan Sonamaker, please sit down.
Hell no, we won't go.
Please remain sitting.
I'll stop there. It remains of a similar caliber all throughout. Though there are more quieter, less annoying bits. The British man you saw sitting on the stage is one Milo Yiannopoulos. A conservative homosexual media personality. The black gentleman in the nice jacket is Edward Ward. The subject of this video. It seems clear to me from the footage taken at the auditorium that Ward's main intent was to shut down the event. To not allow Milo to speak. In fact, that is not just my amazing skills of deduction talking. He all but admitted that was his intent in an interview he gave in the aftermath. That is the main point I want to talk about today, so I won't delay any longer and roll the audio.
Just to clarify, what was your sort of rationale for shutting down the talk?
Here's my thing. When you have someone like that, now when I went, okay, I was open to listen to what was being said. I was open to listen and try and understand. But then it's coming from a point of ignorance. When you make these blatant statements about feminists, when you make these blatant statements about the LGBTQ community, when you make these blatant statements about black people, right, then this becomes a problem. Because when you spew this kind of hatred, people like us end up dead. We end up dead. You get the Charleston, South Carolina, right? These are what you get as a result of his type of speech and rhetoric.
I see.
It's not a point of it's not a point of shutting down free speech. It's the point of shutting down hate speech.
Hate speech.
That's
Okay.
what we advocate for.
Okay, sure. So you think Milopoulos, any of his remarks sort of contribute to the... Edward, sorry, I think my phone just got dropped.
Yeah.
So sorry. So
Wait, how'd you get my number?
well, I looked up just online. It's actually online. you do a lot of community work, so it's just online everywhere.
Oh. I see.
Yeah, be careful.
So, what I was saying is this: when you make statements such as all feminists are idiots, or you say that black women are mad because you fucked black men, right? These issues become these statements become a problem, because what you're doing now is you're devaluing the legitimate anger of people who've been an oppressed group. This is what is happening. You're devaluing this anger. You're looking at our struggle and you're making a mockery of it. There is nothing funny about being black in America. There's nothing funny about being black in the world, looking in the deepest parts of antiquity.
Okay, got it.
So for me, I think about those people who've died at the hands of a racist who began this type of and spewed this type of rhetoric. That's what I think about, and that's why I thought it was necessary, and that's why I will continue to do it so long as there is anything that's happening that threatens my safety. Dr. King says injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. What they did in that student center, what they did in room 120 was not okay.
Okay.
And we need people who will stand up and be unapologetic in it. Of course, I'm going to receive all types of backlash because there are people saying I violated their free speech. Where he is straight. But when you say stuff like this, you're threatening our very safety. You have a bunch of white people who want to actually say a bunch of racist shit. And that's not okay.
I see.
So you want to say this racist shit, and then you have some people who are ignorant enough to act on this racist shit. So when I say what I say, when I stand up and do what I do, I'm doing this for the sake of my people and those who come after me.
Hello, Edward. I would like to spend the rest of the video addressing to you. My main problem with you isn't that I disagree. It is how you are conducting yourself that I take issue with. This is not the proper way to have a civil discourse. I won't argue with you on whether you were justified on shutting down that event, or that extreme rhetoric can't lead to acts of violence. I think we both know it is possible. That goes for both sides of the coin. In face, your protest may also be evidence of that. I would however like to argue that what you are doing is detrimental to what you say you aim to achieve. Your goal was to silence Milo, out of fear of the dangerous implications his words could have, of their ability to incite people into acts of violence based on bigotry. Let's say for the sake of the argument that there are people who follow Milo, or even in the audience who are bigoted or easily provoked into acts of aggression. Edward, what would you say to the person who would argue you only exasperated those individuals? Confirmed their negative racist thoughts on black people? If anything, you turned a small university visit that not many people would have heard of or given a second thought, and put a spotlight on it. The event you wanted so few people to hear. I'm afraid you didn't give many listeners a reason to discard racist or bigoted ideas either. All they saw was an annoying liberal, blowing on a whistle, calling the speaker an idiot but not much else, bringing no counterpoint or argument to the table. Because perhaps in their mind, you just don't have one. Which only emboldens them in their ideas and their rightness. You were so scared of Milo's words, bringing some bigot to violence, you failed to see how your actions could only support that same bigot's preconceived notions on African Americans, and enrage him. Perhaps enough to take it out on a black person he happens to come across. I can't say. My only hope is that if you do see this, or if anyone who does see this, stops and considers the benefits and advantages to have a calm, rational discussion. On university campuses and otherwise. Edward, from the brief interview you gave, it seems to me you are a decently intelligent young man who can articulate himself. It baffles me why you would choose not to use those skills. Instead of blowing into that whistle, you could have had a dialogue. Explain why you think microaggressions exist. Or why they should, in your words, dump Trump. Made your case. You might have convinced some people, or you may have convinced nobody in the audience. But at least then you do not give them a reason to disdain you. No legitimate reason to anyway. It is possible that they would disdain you simply for expressing your ideas, but then they would appear as, and be, an unruly mob intolerant of differing points of view. The general public at large would see this and be more likely to sympathize or understand where you are coming from. Perhaps winning a few people over. But instead that role falls upon you. You are the one who was intolerant of differing views. You were the unruly one. You not only didn't win over the hearts and minds of the public. You earned yourself the scorn of the internet. I really don't know what else to say to you. I think I have made my case. I can only hope you and others take my words to heart and consider them. Goodbye for now, Edward.